Thank you for allowing me to be here tonight, and Mrs. Glassman, thank you so much for sharing your story. I have been involved in this fight for some time now, in many different facets. Before I was in politics, I was a narcotics prosecutor for the federal government, but I've seen it on a much more personal level lately. It's one of the most acute issues I deal with. And if you ask me right now, if Hashem were to come down and say you get to do one thing and solve one problem out of all the problems, and I have to tell you, when I go on Shabbos, when I go to a shul, people talk a lot about the potholes on their road. Everyone talks about the taxes, and I certainly understand that, and rightfully so. Of course, we talk about other very important issues. We talk about Israel. We don't talk about drugs. And I have been at too many rooms like this in too many different settings. I have seen personally that it is true that this drug, that this opioid epidemic does not discriminate. I've been in black churches. I've been in the nicest Catholic homes in Rockville Center. I've been with Reform Jews, and now I'm here. And I could tell you that we have a serious problem. And to me, it's the most acute. And if Hashem would say to me, you get to do one thing, what would it be? This would be it. Because once you talk to a Mrs. Glassman or you talk to a parent and they come up to Albany and they lobby and you hear their anguish, you can't help but want to do something immediately and swear that you won't let it happen to another person. But that requires all of us working together, and I mean that. The communities that do the best fighting the epidemic have everyone involved. They have the police, they have their rabbanim or whatever clergy in their community, they have their educational system, they have their friends and family. Everybody pitches in. Everyone is aware of the issue. I will give you a quick example. There are some communities that have a coalition, and they get money from the federal government or the state, and they have meetings, and the meetings involve the principals, seniors and juniors in high school, the police officers, involved parents, and they all talk about what they could do in their community to make things better. Do we need to drink at every event on the beach in Long Beach? Do we need to have better treatment, better mental health services? I think a lot of this comes from having mental health issues. We don't talk about mental health, we misdiagnose it. You know, it's the only disease that it's better to be on Medicaid than have commercial insurance. Literally, it's easier to find the way that it's billed is no one wants to take you on commercial insurance. They get such little back. So what I like to talk about when I come to places like this is what I see as really a five-prong approach to dealing with this. First, as a former prosecutor, I still think that law enforcement has a big role to play. If there are people that are knowingly putting this poison on the street, they should be treated like criminals. But we cannot prosecute our way out of this problem. It's much deeper than that. So having real treatment matters. When I hear from families that their son or daughter decided it's time for treatment, and they go there or they call there and they're told, sorry, we'll call your insurance needs 48 hours to get back to you, that breaks my heart. That's a shame, right? So we need to do better with treatment, make it more available and lessen our insurance laws. Third, we need to treat mental health like the serious issue it is. Much of this comes from self-medicating and from having, I can't tell you how many drug addicts I've talked to who started with a dislocated shoulder or a broken ankle or a car accident. And a lot of that comes, lastly, from our medical community, right? Our doctors have been giving people big jars of pills. And then you can go to a doctor down the street and get another jar of pills. And frankly, heroin has become so cheap that it's easier to get heroin than getting pills, right? So there's a heck of a lot that we could do. And of course, prevention to me is important. We always have to be talking to children in the schools, and that's where this comes in. If someone, I'll make it up, if someone is going to Hank, if someone is going to Darche, if someone is going to North Shore, and they're not talking about this, we're fooling ourselves. We have to. I'm not saying that this is important as learning halacha or studying the Constitution, but it's important. It should be there. There's enough days of school and enough hours that this is something that should be talked about. And if not, let's do it after school. Let's do it on the weekend, and I'll be happy to help arrange that. So what I want really to thank is Ms. Glassman's bravery for coming out for this today. I'm going to tell you about a real nasty comment that someone in my office heard. because someone out there in this community or in Lawrence or somewhere is thinking it. And this is what we need to get rid of. A young man in the Rockville Center School District died of an overdose. And a woman in my office who helps me with Rockville Center, you know, I'm from Long Beach, I'm Jewish, Rockville Center, not exactly, don't really know anyone there, so she kind of gets me in the community and tells me what's going on and helps me out. And when they were at a wake for this young man, she walked out with a lady who said, I can't imagine what she's going through, but thank God this couldn't happen to our family, right? And there are people walking around thinking this. They are actually thinking that they live in a bubble, that they live in a cocoon, that Hashem treats them differently. But this could happen to anybody, and if our community needs to lose that attitude and has to start thinking that these are their children. I once saw someone walk around with a T-shirt that said, if not your kid, whose kid is it? And I didn't put that together till later, what they're thinking of, right? These are all our children. So we all have to be working hard to do this. So I'm here to let you know that I'm fully supportive of this. This has been something that's been needed for a long time. You find a way for me to pitch in or be involved, or you want me to bring my I was going to say the power of my office, which is a funny thing because there's not so much power in my office. But whatever weight there is, I am happy to bring to bear, because this, to me, like I said, is the most acute problem. I don't walk out of meetings about potholes or taxes crying, but when you do talk to parents who talk about finding their children or holding their children, it's a different thing. If you don't come out of that meeting determined, then there's something wrong with you. So I'm so happy to see this turnout today. Let's have more. Let's work together to have a bigger program in this community. I will facilitate. I will bring experts. I will provide refreshments. You let me know what I need to do. Although I'm sure there are caterers out here that would be able to help. But just please keep doing this. I'm so proud to be here tonight, and thank you for giving me a few minutes to address this. Thank you.